But at the end of the day, forgiveness won't mean anything if it's forced. It won't be genuine. Hi, my loves. This is Isabella Sanfilippo coming at you from WCHS Ball Township, and you're listening to the I Love You podcast. I feel like I start every single episode, even Emma Chamberlain was saying this, she starts a lot of her episodes with, I have an epiphany. I feel like I start with all of my episodes with, I was thinking about this topic a lot recently, or I was thinking about this topic yesterday, which is how I'm going to start this one. I was thinking about this topic yesterday. I feel like the umbrella of forgiveness, which is a topic, can be taken in many different ways, which is really true with a lot of the topics I talk about, because if you have a topic and you just see it one way and you're like, this is this, you're not going to get an episode out of that, because you need to have multiple perspectives on something if you want to fully understand it. So the topic today is forgiveness, which can be hard. There are a lot of different things about forgiveness. Everyone always says forgive and forget. I was talking about this in one of the previous episodes with Becky and Dia. They came on the show for our English project, which was Manifesto, and it was a great episode, so definitely go check that out. But forgive and forget isn't always the best expression. Because yes, I think you should forgive if it's something that's forgivable and you find it in your heart. But I disagree with the forget part. You shouldn't forget what happened, because I'm just trying to think of an example. Let's say someone maybe talks to you in like a condescending way or a certain way, and it doesn't make you feel great, but that's just kind of how that person is. Once you decipher these habits, the next time you go to talk to them, or the next time you have to work with them, you can remember, so you won't be as hurt. I also think that not forgetting is good because it's a reminder to not treat people that way in the future. We've all learned the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. So if someone talks to you in a certain tone that you don't like, then you shouldn't talk to other people in that tone. And I think that just what honestly makes the world go round. I also think that there's different types of forgiveness too. There's forgiving little things like I don't know, like if you had plans to go see a movie or something and the person came a little bit late and then the movie already started and you missed a little bit, it's something totally forgivable. Yes, it might be annoying, but it's not super serious. It's something that you can be like, oh, okay, like whatever, I'll get over it. But there's also things that are unforgivable, or at least seem unforgivable. For example, if someone is in a relationship and their partner cheats on them, some people do get back into the relationship, so it's not unforgivable for some. I'm just rattling off these examples today. Like Eliza and Hamilton from Hamilton. Like she had her moment, she had the burn, but then she's doing the unimaginable, like she forgave him at the end. And she's better than me because I don't know if I could do that. But this also brings us to another kind of forgiveness. I think that a lot of time, forgiveness is for other people. But forgiveness can be for yourself. If someone cheats on you, at least in my perspective, you wouldn't be forgiving them for them. You wouldn't be excusing their action. They wronged you. They had your trust. They completely broke it, violated everything that you built together, everything that you worked together to create. But then there's also this moral dilemma. I feel like we should forgive everyone. So, in this case, what the heck do we do? And I think that this is when this certain type of forgiveness comes into play. Because it wouldn't be forgiving them for them or excusing their actions. It would be forgiving them for you. I feel like a lot of time, forgiveness sets you free. So in the case of something happening that's unforgivable, it's not about forgiving the person who wronged you. It's about setting yourself free and forgiving them to make yourself feel better. Especially like if I'm mad at someone or upset, I'm not going to feel good. I'm going to feel mad and upset. But when I forgive them, it's almost like this breath of relief. And I let go of all of that angst and anger that is built up. It's not forgiving them for them. It's forgiving them for me, which is different. A completely different type of forgiveness. It's the type of forgiveness that brings peace of mind, clarity. It allows you to move on. And I think that's why forgiveness is so important. It's a tool that allows you to get past what happened to you. And, you can't forgive everyone all the time because, there's definitely some even bigger things that are unforgivable. And sometimes we just can't bring ourselves to forgive. But for things like, I don't know, forgetting to bring out the trash or forgetting to call at a certain time, we definitely can. And we might be annoyed, but those are the things that can be gotten over pretty quickly. I think my toxic trait is that I'm a very petty person, but someone really smart once asked me, okay, but wouldn't you have done the same? If someone's actions are annoying or upsetting to you, it might be beneficial to look at it from their perspective. Maybe it turns into, okay, if I was in their situation, I would have done the same thing. That was the best option. Or maybe it's, okay, I wouldn't have done that. That wasn't the best option. And I think that life is all about perspective. Because when we look at something, even a slightly different view, our view changes. I think we hear the expression, put yourself in their shoes, but I think the value of the expression is so underappreciated because that can fix so many problems. And honestly, when you put yourself into other people's shoes, you can see that there might be factors of why they did what they did. Those factors might not always excuse the action, but it can provide context and shed light on the situation. Like with the movie example, there could have been traffic and that's why they were late. Something out of their control. A huge thing about forgiveness is that sometimes it takes time. If someone apologizes and says like, right away, do you forgive me? Like, I'm rolling with these examples today. Like if someone came up to me and they were like, I was walking your dog, I'm so sorry, but then I just turned around and she was gone. Do you forgive me? Like, I want my dog back. Like, what? Like, you're still hurt and vulnerable from their actions. And it's okay to say, I need a second to think. It's okay to say, maybe I can't forgive you right now, but with time I could. I just need some time. And another thing is, if someone did something really bad that upset you, you shouldn't forgive them and then take the time to figure out if you really do forgive them or why you're forgiving them or if it's even the right thing to do. Often, I feel like that happens without us even knowing, and looking back, when you say, okay, I forgive you, but then in your head you're like, I don't actually, it's a negative thing. Because if you tell them that you forgive them, and then they try to go and act like nothing ever happened, and you're still upset about the situation, it's just going to cause more problems. And it's going to further create this rift between you, or the two other people, or the one other people, or the four other people. And I think that when it comes to forgiveness, and when it comes to anything really, communication is key. Because if someone thinks they're forgiven, and they act just like nothing ever really happened, because they think the situation's solved, and it really isn't, no one's going to feel safe. No one's going to feel comfortable. It's going to get worse. And it's so weird because I am totally realizing that I have done this a lot. And I always just want to make people feel better. I think I'm a huge people pleaser. So a lot of the time I forgive people for them to make them feel better, and I don't take the time for myself to really find out if I do forgive them or why I am. But I think I'm getting better at that, and I'm really proud that I am. So my biggest takeaway is that forgiveness takes time. And if you're the one who has to decide if you forgive that person, I think you should take your time. I mean, obviously, if someone forgot to take out the trash and you're dragging it out for a month, I think it's like a little much. But if you're upset, taking a step back and thinking about it for maybe in a minute or a day or an hour or a night or longer, it's totally fine, especially if they did something that really upsets you, because there's no rush on forgiveness. You can forgive someone at any time, even if something happened years ago. And you can wake up one day and decide, I think I want to forgive them. I think I've held onto this grudge for way too long, and I think it's time to forgive them. And that is totally acceptable. In fact, encouraged. If you had a fallout with a friend or a bad ex, you should decide what makes you feel better. And what makes you feel better could be forgiving them. And everyone is different, but I know that's something that has helped me. And also on the flip side, if you're someone who is waiting to see if they've been forgiven, my biggest advice to anyone waiting is to just give them space. Giving them space, letting them figure it out, especially when they've asked for space. I just think it's very important for them to be able to rationalize everything that's happening. And if there's this pressure to forgive someone constantly, they're going to have a tough time understanding what they want. and they're going to cave, and then it's going to be the same thing as before, and they don't know if they're actually forgiving the person or if they're just saying that to make them feel better, and then the cycle repeats, and then even more builds up, and there's anger and feelings, maybe even feelings of guilt for giving in. But at the end of the day, forgiveness won't mean anything if it's forced. It won't be genuine. And I could talk about this topic forever, but I think that it's a good place to wrap up. Take your time with forgiveness. You don't always have to forgive and forget. Think about why you're forgiving someone. Is it for them or for you? Is it because it was something little or because you want to make them feel better? I'll leave you with those questions. I'm your host, Isabella Sanfilippo. Thank you for listening to the I Love You podcast, and remember, I love you.